Good evening, guys. Just waiting on the two boys to join. So apologies for the muck up. Sorry, I'm a little bit croaky. We wasn't going to do this originally, but after a brief discussion tonight, when I had 1% left on my phone, the lads, particularly Christian, who's just woken up in, I guess it's 5 o'clock over in New South Wales in Australia, was actually quite keen to get involved in it. So bear with me. Let me try and add the boys in, and we'll go from there. So just hold 1 second. Evening, Sam.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Been better. Been better. So I'm
Good.
waiting for Christian. I guess he's probably brushing his teeth or something like that, or letting the dogs out. So let me just try and see if I can have him back in again. Um, no, no,
Yeah,
just
so it'll be six Sydney time. Um,
see if I can add him in. Bear with me. Right. Oh, something happened then. He's disappeared off me. There he is. All right, press invite. No, these Australians are like, keep people waiting. Fancy getting up at 6. Fancy getting up at 6 in the morning to go on and just rant about model planes, eh? Um,
it's,
he
de-
loves it.
it's certainly dedication to to the hobby.
Um,
Um,
Something like that. Anyhow, I'm sure he knows we're on board. So all he's got to do is just press. Christians, if you're watching, there's a little camera with a plus at the bottom of the screen. If you press that, you can actually join it. He's probably looking at me all confused right now. Like he's probably like swearing, "Oh, that's flamenco ours." But anyhow, we'll make a start while we're waiting for him. I know he's definitely going to come on.
yes.
So anyhow, welcome everyone. Feels like about 6 months since I last did I guess it was 4 months since I last did a live actually. So I'm actually looking quite particularly tanned. I'm really quite impressed with that. I have no idea either that or jaundice, one of the two. Yeah, so today is which should have been, and I think we said this last time, didn't we, Sam? Is that it should be a day of like everyone's really excited, getting really built up. It's like, yeah, we're going to get some new models come out, and it's dropped. And I think it's fair to say it's pretty underwhelming again. And that's not being negative. That's not to say the models are going to be rubbish because they're probably going to be good.
Mm.
But yeah, so there's 4 models. Yeah, you haven't misheard that. There's 4 new models been released. I mean, we go through them one by one, I guess, when Christian joins up. Um, Before I sort of like throw stuff around, Sam, do you want to just go through your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of I was at work earlier. I didn't really. I mean, for the last one, I sort of managed to catch it as it were as it was happening. But yeah, I'm reasonably underwhelmed. There's not apart from maybe the Defiant, which I really sort of do quite like the look of. Other than that, I think the choices made this time around maybe aren't the best, and even potentially, I think the first release, which people thought was a bit a slight letdown. I feel like this is it's kind of for me anyway. There's a bit less there, and Yeah, I was sort of expecting sort of at least maybe 7 or 8 for the aviation archive range, but no. And yeah, I don't know what's going on. What I sort of always compare and contrast it to is 2021 when everyone was sort of wowed and there was so much that there was a really good drop of products. I think it was I remember you covering it at the time, Mark. I think it was like at least in excess of sort of um, 20 bits and pieces going out. So yeah, it's a funny one. Oh, Christian Oakley's joined. Um, Probably popping a request. I think the sound your sound might have gone, Mark. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, but so I just press mute.
There we go. Oh, it's
Yeah,
okay.
yes, I've just invited you, Christian. So hopefully you've got a little request come through now, and it should be at the bottom of your screen, a little camera with a plus on it. Look at us looking after the elderly.
There we go.
So yeah, so hopefully he'll be on in a sec. So hopefully Christian give his opinions on it as well, and knowing Christian, he'll be very, very honest with it, and rightly so. Look, I completely agree with you, mate. You know, dare I say I'm a fanboy. I don't like that term. I just like model planes, to be honest with you. I'm not really bothered whether it's Forces of Valor, whether it's Hobby Master, whether it's Witty Wings. If it's something I like, I buy it. But it's very difficult to sort of look at this and go, yeah. It's when you look, obviously, no, don't get me wrong. I think Corgi have made a lot of mistakes in the past with some dubious schemes at some point. But this is really underwhelming. I mean, like we can go through all four. I mean, just a quick overview for those who don't know. So there's 4 releases. There's a B17, which is pretty much the same to anybody who's got it. A bit of lace. What's it called again? My brain is gone.
Milk Run. Milk Run.
Milk Run. That's it. Milk Run. It's very much similar to Bitter Lace, which is an all silver scheme with the yellow and black on it. Which it looks stunning. It really does look nice. But if you've got Bitter Lace, I don't really see why you'd want that one as well. But that's just me. And that's priced at 185 quid, if I'm right. There's then
Yes.
there's two Falklands aircraft. So there is I think everyone was blown away by this. The Shah, is it the FRS one Shah?
Yeah.
Sea Harrier,
FRS one.
of Andy Old, who obviously flew in the Falklands campaign. Yeah, all right, doing a sec, Christian, bear with me. And that's very similar to, I think we discussed one that was released in 2001, which I've got sitting on my shelf at work. Then we've got the Argentinian Chinook, which by all accounts was not really working that often during the middle of the conflict, but it is still what you call a Falklands aircraft, and of course that goes with the Black Buck aborted mission Vulcan that was released in the previous one. And the final one is probably the star of the show in my eyes, is the Defiant Night Fighter, representing a famous Northern Irish night fighting ace whose name escapes me, and that does look really nice. The scheme on it's unusual, but then on the flip side of that, that's the 3rd night fighting Defiant that's been released, which again is sort of, I don't know, it's lovely. It really is lovely, but again,
I think it was it Hughes and Gash?
Yeah,
I think
so.
Hughes being the driver and Gash the gunner.
Yeah, there's
if you will. I might have
Tony.
got that wrong around,
I
but
know Tony at the Ulster Aviation Museum was really, really keen to get that one done, and he put some details on the DWC page over on Facebook earlier around some detailed history. So it's got a great history with it. But for me, it's the one that jumps out at me, anyhow. I mean, and that's priced at $59.99, I think it was. So I didn't mention the Chinook is priced at 95 quid, which raised a few eyebrows, I think, is fair to say. That's the state of play we're in. Let me try and see if I can add Christian. Sorry, let me just mute myself. Right. So I press invite to join. Just look for a little red tag at the bottom of your page, Christian. There's a little camera with the plus bit, and just click on that, and you should be able to join. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah. So yeah,
it's because we're appearing on his end upside down. So
yeah, that's
he's
probably right.
probably struggling. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for me, the strangest one was was that Chinook. I couldn't really wrap my head around why they decided to do that one. I mean, yeah, as the Falklands aircraft and all that, but the history behind it is just it's so sketch to have it unserviceable and basically be like a bit of a trophy aircraft from the actual conflict. It's quite quirky, and I think a bit risky purely from a sales point of view, because yeah, it wasn't a story that I was aware of. I didn't know the Argentines had any Chinooks, because certainly because they were. Oh, here he is. There we go.
Hang
But
on a
where's the
second.
beard?
This,
Right.
I
Where's
don't
Christian?
understand.
Who are you and where's Christian?
Hang on a sec. I'm trying to fucking sort this shit out. Because it won't work on my computer.
What an opening gambit.
It won't work on my computer. It only works on my stupid bloody phone.
It's like the Lost Mitchell brothers just turned up, Sam. Obviously, for anybody this side of the pond, you'll get this.
Australian version.
Yeah,
yeah,
the Australian sweary version.
Oh man, that's really bad, and I look horrible. So there you go. I'll just make it up. I've got COVID, so just give me a break.
Oh no!
Alrighty.
He's lost his beard for it. His beard's fallen out.
Lost the hair, lost the beard.
Makes you look younger though, mate. I've got to say, no, don't take this the wrong way, Christian, but the beard adds like 10 years to you. You look like a spring chicken now with your little bald head and your bald face.
I know, but I liked it. So I had long hair even though I was bald. Susie was appalled, but you know, she thought I looked fucking horrible.
So, Christian, you're a man who won't hold back.
No.
So just say it as it is.
4 good releases. There's nothing wrong with the releases, but 4, that's 7 in 7 months. And that's, I don't know what's going on with Corgi. It's pretty sad. But, you know, what can you do? But they are good releases. I mean, all 7 releases, I would have thought, are actually quite good releases. And considering what I've purchased from the last catalogue, I just don't understand why. Maybe they're not selling as much as what I thought. Maybe my love for the Fire Dog bow and the Beaufort is translating to proper sales. I don't know, but it just seems odd. It's, you know, everyone's talking about not the releases, but how they were presented for a start on that rather unusual monotone video. And the lack of releases, and everyone's just talking about that, not the actual releases themselves, which is a bit sad, I think.
Yeah, I couldn't get onto the forum earlier to see if someone let me log in for some reason. I don't know if the forum was down for a bit. I wanted to see what the anti-Corgi crew really thought of it, and it's. I mean, you look what's been released recently. The Beaufort is amazing. I mean, I've not got it yet because I haven't bought anything in 6 months, believe it or not. I mean, the Beaufort's amazing. The last Mustang looks stunning, really, really stunning. And I guess previous to that, I guess the Beaufighter was the last one before that, which I think I got, which again is amazing, brilliant bit of kit. And if you look what's due to come, and I think we was talking about this, I was talking to Gary about this shortly, just before we come on air, because I didn't think we was going to do it. I mean, the Typhoon, when it eventually hits the shops, is going to be brilliant. I mean, the potential for that is sublime. It looks brilliant. The 2 Spitfires will be great. I have absolutely no doubt they'll be up there with the Geminis. What they're releasing is good. Trouble is, it's been, in order to make money in business, it's a bit like me having the best shop in the world, best food shop in the world, but nobody coming in and buying it. Because that's what generates it. If you don't have the product, you don't generate the income. So if we think about, we talk about everyone's craving new tools. So in 7 months, 7 releases is less than what Hobby Master release in a month, right? and you know,
About
maybe
half, about half what Hobby Master put out in a
yeah.
month.
So
Really,
maybe
with
they
a couple.
oversaturate. I get, you know, to a degree, they sometimes oversaturate the market, and they'll release 3 bloody Phantoms in a month and stuff like that. And that takes money out of collectors' pockets. Yeah, if you haven't got a bottomless pit of finances, it just seems like a really strange thing to do. It's almost like, and I think you mentioned it previously on our little Facebook group, messenger group, and you said around they seem to be going all in on the trackside stuff, which is Hornby dictating play. So I really don't know. I mean, look, like you said, the releases are good. It's just there's so little of them. But then obviously the prices have gone through the bloody roof as well. So I don't know. They've got to have a strategy, but it's almost like they don't want to make money off the aviation archive because
There seems to be a lot of focus on the James Bond, the Coca-Cola. It's going that they're going quite hard on that. And previously, I thought maybe I wasn't paying attention, but previously I thought their promotional stuff didn't have as much love before, and now it's kind of flipped on its head. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how well these things sell. They clearly must do to really to go after it. But you know, even the Vanguard's collectors are getting a bit peeved because all they're seeing is Fords. You know, it's just constant stream of Fords. And if you're not perhaps a fan of the blue oval, then there's nothing there for you. So I don't know what's going on, but yeah, I thought, and they've previously admitted themselves that Aviation Archive is the biggest, or one of certainly the biggest bankers for them. So it baffles me why they won't, as you say, Mark, invest in it a bit more to get the sales in to put some money in the coffers for those new toolings.
That's actually an interesting point about the Vanguard, because I noticed on Facebook some of the comments directed at Vanguard, and there was a lot of disappointment there as well. But it's exactly the same. And you were saying, like, just Ford. If you're not a Ford fan, then why would you get excited about the release? Well, the Aviation Archive is exactly the same. I mean, we've got one. The US collectors have done okay now with a B-17 and a Mustang. There's no German stuff. Like, there's no Luftwaffe stuff, and there's not enough releases to entice everyone in the hobby to get excited about the catalogue. It's only some of us are excited about it, but there's a whole heap of just going, well, there's nothing there for me.
Yeah. I mean, the other issue I see it as well is I know you don't pay Corgi prices because you go to a dealer, you get 10% off, or whatever it may be, but 185 quid for a B-17. I mean, one of the guys over on the page, Michael, made that point and said, you know, dare I say, die-cast aviation collectors is a dying breed. I guess they probably are, because at the prices, you know, you think you're trying to entice a kid in who's just started, you know, 18-year-old boy, or, you know, he might be going to uni, he might be having a part-time job, goes to air shows with his parents every summer. You know, are they going to pay 60 quid for a Defiant or a Spitfire? Or I don't think they are. I really don't.
Into retail prices, though. I mean, some people were saying they've already seen the B-17 at £164 somewhere in UK on MH3. So I think hopefully it's just recommended retail, and you'll get it for under 160 at some stage.
But yeah, but that's 160 quid still. That's 160 quid. That's I know we're saying, oh, you get 20%, you know, 20 quid off or whatever. That's still 160 quid. Yeah. And I always hark back to the Model Zone days, and I don't think you had the Model Zone over in Oz, did you? But you know, that was my go-to. That was my go-to. Go in the Model Zone, get a few cheap models.
You still have Hobbyco in Sydney, Christian?
Yeah.
Hobbyco? Yeah.
I used to buy a lot from Model Zone because postage was so cheap, and they're like, when they just dumped max. I mean, I got a whole heap, particularly Franklin Mint. I got a lot of super cheap Franklin Mint from Model. Yeah. In fact,
£30 B-17s.
The story I like talking about. I got a PB4Y here, or PBY4, which is a B24. But configured in maritime or the Atlantic War, and I got that for about $150 delivered from Model Zone, Australian. So 70 quid. And that model is just awesome. Hornchurch got me onto that model. Hornchurch said, get into this one, mate. Because he knew I liked B24s. So, but then again, Model Zone went broke, didn't they? So, because they kept dumping.
Yeah.
Great little story for Model Zone. So when I first started in London, I worked for Sainsbury's in 2011, and I got put into a place in North London called Islington. And Islington is a 5-minute bus ride from Holborn, where our head office is. And Model Zone used to have their flagship store right next to Holborn Station. And I'll be honest, I mean, no one's from Sainsbury's. I've not done work for them anymore. So I didn't really used to do an awful lot. My shop was brilliant. So I used to go meet my mate for a coffee. I used to spend hundreds of pounds down in there. I mean, I remember when they were shutting down the Holborn one and moving it to New Oxford Street for a smaller site. And I went in there and I used to chat to the guy quite a lot. It was on first name basis. That's how dorky he was. I remember going in there. I picked up 10 models for 120 quid, I think it was. There was Sea Fury. I remember the Dutch Sea Fury I got there. I think I got one of the Biggin Hill trio in there. No, like 15 quid a pop. It was unreal. But now, but that's stuck in your head, isn't it? Every time you then purchase a plane, you want to purchase it for 15 quid. You can't. You know, it was so stupid that it was literally giving it away. But when you look at that, and I look at my collection here.
Well, no, it was
my first Corgi purchase was in Model Zone in Cambridge. It was a Russian Winter Dornier, the one with its the 17Z, and it was like 50 quid. And you think what they're going for now, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But I thought that was, back then. I mean, especially when you're my age back then, that was quite a lot of money. But you look at it now and you think, wow, I should have bought everything on the shelf. Just stored it away. But
I could have got the Biggin Hill trio for 40 quid at Lakeside. I mean, how much is that now? 200 quid for the Biggin Hill trio?
Ah, okay, yeah.
But it is ridiculous. So, I don't really know what to. I mean, the crowds are quiet today, but I put a few feelers out there to say what people think of it. But I'm not yet seeing a positive reaction to anything around it. To be honest with you, I don't know about you guys. I know obviously you, Christian, you said all 4 releases are pretty decent, and I do agree with that to a degree. But how good is the Shah mold though? Was it not dated a bit when it was released in the early 2000s?
Well, the Shah I've got looks pretty, well. I mean, it is. It's an old tooling, and it'll probably be a bit gappy, but it's the Falklands 40th anniversary, and for reasons unknown to me, Corgi decided to go the GR5 instead of the Shah and the GR3. So I don't know why. I would have went. I'm talking about 148. I would have went the Sea Harrier and the FA2 and hopefully the GR3, depending if they can manage to, mold the tooling so they can make that modification easily enough. But they haven't. They've gone for the GR5, so it's the Falklands, and they've got to release a Shah. But I mean, Martel on MH3 brought up a very good point. He said it's all well and good to put another, Dagger or Mirage killer on there with another, anti-ooled. But why not something with bombs, on a CAS mission? What CPS did during the war as well, something a bit different. So it's really interesting. I mean, they've just gone for whatever seems to be easiest regarding the Sea Harrier tooling. So but that's often the case with Corgi. The Sterling's another case in point. They've just another Sterling, another one that has been released in a long time. Out of the 3 releases, only McRoberts Reply did really, really well. They released another one with a bit of nose up, but they left all the stuff that made that particular release unique. With all the antennas and all the 100 group stuff. And the same with the Shah. I mean, if they put it'll probably sell. I'm not saying it won't, but if they put a couple of bombs on it instead of, making it a simple air superiority, then it'd probably be a bit more popular, wouldn't it? Because it'd be different.
Yeah. Completely. That's a really good point, actually. To be fair, the interesting bit for me with the Shah, surely that gives you hope eventually for this Australian bloody Canberra, doesn't it?
No,
No.
No.
I
It's
honestly,
fine.
I
Giving up on that.
honestly thought they were gonna do one of the Argentine ones for the Falklands that they previously didn't release, because I think that would have made perfect sense, right?
Everything, all the
Like
research is there.
much more sense than the Chinook, because it actually played a bit more of an active role. So personally, that's what I would have done, but. Hey, maybe there's like a thing in Corgi where if you cancel a release, you can't re-release it. I don't know,
Well, it
but
depends. It depends who's done the research. Maybe whoever's done the research is being RC. But you don't know, do you? I mean, you don't know what happens. Internal politics
I think,
happen to every business,
I
doesn't
think. Sorry, mate. I think the chook was chosen not only because of Falklands, but also half it's still being used, and a bit of it was used on on the
Yeah.
Bravo November, and so I think that's one of the reasons why they picked it. But yeah, they've got a perfectly good Skyhawk tooling. I would have used that for put an Argentine Skyhawk myself instead of Chook. If that's the way they wanted to go, why don't they just drag out that? I mean, that was a good little tooling. Why don't they just drag out that little tooling? And although I'm not quite sure.
Well, it's a dual set, a duo set. So
yeah, with the Harrier, probably not as a duo set, but like maybe like what they did with Happy Jack's Go Buggy, where they had two models of the same sort of, around the same sort of theme.
The only thing I don't know,
faults were like the Corsair. Like the Corsair duo. No, Corsair duo, but like a hill with the Skyhawk being chased by the Harrier. Like that would be lovely to see again. Something like that. That's interesting. That's you're talking Falklands display. You put that up. That looks like that is the Falklands display there, isn't it?
The only thing is, I'm not sure whether or not the Corgi tooling can do the A4B, A4C, which is the early books that they flew, the Argentinians. So I'm not 100% sure about that. But if that's, if it does work, man, that would have killed a Shah and a Skyhawk. That would have been, so lack of imagination, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, one of the other bits of discussion I've seen. Oh, sorry, mate, you just cut out then.
That's all right.
So the only other bit of discussion I've seen is around the B-17. I mean, a lot of people have been calling for the RAF version, didn't they? Something like Give It to Uncle or something along them lines. But apparently it needs quite a bit of retooling to do the RAF version. I'm not into the variants and stuff like that, so I don't know what that would look like.
It needs the chin and a few other bits and pieces, but they're only plastic bits. So Franklin Mint and Corgi, because Corgi released 100 group B-17 in 1 to 144, and Franklin Mint also released the same Give to Uncle in 1 to 48, and neither tooling had to be modified. They just added the plastic bits to it. So I don't think it's that big a deal. To mold those plastic bits and attach them to the model. Maybe
Wasn't
I'm
that a
wrong.
little radome behind the chin? Wasn't there a little radome behind the chin on the RF
it's
version?
only a little used or anything.
Yeah,
I mean,
mold it in plastic. Like,
how is it different to the JU-88 variants that they've done?
Yeah, true.
Fair point. And that's like a whole new nose, right? Like it's pretty disruptive. But I don't know how far with these older toolings that you're able to change them, because when you did that the Q&A, Mark, with Michael, he obviously mentioned the point about the 172 Lightnings, when he went back and changed them. You couldn't, once they went from the F3 to the F6, you couldn't then go back. So I don't know with these older ones whether, I think with the newer ones, they obviously, like with the Beaufighter, they've built in that ability to do different versions. But I don't know how far these older ones can have the tolerances in order to be modified. I don't know. It's interesting. It's a bit more of a technical one, but
I don't think it needs a tooling chain. I think it's just plastic bits added on.
The other thing as well is that the B17 tooling is at the end of its life pretty much now, isn't it? So I'm guessing they, dare I use the term exploit, but they want to utilise it as much as they can before they have to reinvest in it, because you know the Lancaster, the B17, it's raked them in a shitload of money. No, they want to try and make sure they get every single penny out of that to do a new one. But you think, you know, it will be a case of, do we really need to, or can we invest that in something else? Because you think, I would imagine a tooling for a B17 would cost 3-4 times what it would do for a P51B or something different. Yeah, something along those lines.
It'd be disgusting. I mean, but both the Lanc and the B17 still do pass muster. But I think the Lancaster probably more so because of it's just the Lancaster's just a bit less gappy. It kind of looks now a bit more. If you put them next to each other, especially around the nose, it kind of looks a bit more polished and not like something that was formed in '01. It looks like something that came maybe a few years later. So it's still a pretty impressive bit of kit. And as long as they're still selling, I think, as you say, they're going to get the most out of them that they can.
Absolutely.
Certainly.
So, yeah, I mean, I thought the P38, so I don't know if you guys have got Miss Virginia. I bought P38 Miss Virginia, and I thought it looked really, really gappy. And then Happy Jack's Go Buggy come out, and it was tight as could be. So it proves, even if it's aging a little bit, there are things they can do to make it tighter. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, it's an interesting conundrum because, like I said, if you want to, I mean, the Spitfire has had let's be honest, the last few Spitfire releases have been a bit shit. And, they're a bit bland compared to, you put it up against a Gemini, for example, it wouldn't pass, it don't cut the mustard. So the Spitfire makes complete sense. So I guess they'll probably, we seem to think, didn't we, in the first video, that there'll be 3 new toolings per year. There'll be a 148 jet. There'll probably be a 172 fighter, and either, I guess, a 148 World War One or a 172 medium or large bomber. I guess that's the strategy. They must have a fixed strategy in place. But Michael did say that they pretty much got the plan for the next 5 years in terms of toolings, anyhow, in the bank, in terms of what they want to do. But all of this is all very good. But in order to make that money, to make the toolings, you've got to sell bloody aircraft, or you've got to sell a lot of product. So in this, it might be. We're all talking about what ifs here. They might have this strategy absolutely nailed, and their finances and their numbers are going to be brilliant in order to utilise that. We don't know, do we? We can only just guess. But I guess from aviation collectors, it's a bit disappointing, because now Hobby Master have got the market, haven't they? And if Hobby Master want to be bastards, they'll go, hold up, we're not seeing Corgi pumping out stuff here. We've cut in on the Tornado. We've cut in on the Typhoon. Maybe we should start having a look at some other bits as well. What happened to the Jaguar, for example, might be another one they go after.
I know that they were talking about, Hobby Master was talking about the Shah last year or the year before, but that got...
Yeah, there was one announced, wasn't there?
So Corgi were lucky they were able to get this bloody Shah out prior to HM, whether they do it or not. I guess the other thing to consider is that, with the COVID shipping, and at the end of the day, maybe they're unable to gain the factory capacity to build more models.
Yeah.
I mean,
I completely agree. Because China's been hit harder than Bangladesh. Absolutely. It's had its third go at it there now, isn't it? I mean, I was chatting to Noel a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me that they were all shut down, and now he's only got himself going again. You're talking, that's a 6-month break really for Noel at Caliber. So they're in the same boat, aren't they?
Yeah. So
Gary over on the forum, though, the importer for Tiger Hobbies for Hobby Master, he was. I mean, he popped on, and with the new prices, and I thought, oh heck, some of those, they're pretty brutal for what we're going to possibly see from Hobby Master in terms of pricing. So it's not just Corgi.
No.
it's going to be it's going to be across the board. Um, and I think certainly each new purchase I'm going to make now is going to have to be really considered, really thought through.
Yeah,
Just
completely
in
agree.
terms of the money that's being spent on them, because you know, as you quite rightly point out, in your trade, if you're not making the sales, you're not going to bring the money in. So I mean, it's the same for me in insurance. If you're not renewing and you're not setting up new biz, it won't happen for you. So yeah, it's a bit tough, but yeah, it's riding the waves, isn't it?
I'm going to make a
Oh,
prediction though,
wait.
Christian. Get back to your Shah thing.
Okay.
I think Hobby Master in their next release, you'll see a Shah in there. They did
Really?
this with the U2 with Caliber. As soon as Noel I'm going to make a U2, Hobby Master went straight in. The Shah is lingering. I think they'll push through the tooling now. And I think that'll be pretty much a declaration of war on Corgi and say, we're coming for you. Because that's what it feels like they did. Let's be honest, they've nailed the Tornado now, haven't they? They've smashed the Tornado out of the park after the first two releases with the canopy that looks shite, and the Typhoon is just sublime. They've picked up the A10 MiG-29 off of Corgi, haven't they,
Yeah.
as well?
Well, my last tornado Code 3, so that's how much I'm impressed with the latest bunch of releases from me, the company. So I've just received a Code 3 from Jay, and it's magnificent. And so I'm not that. I mean, I don't collect German stuff. That's the only thing I don't have is post-war German. I know, but I don't. Considering I have 1,300 models. But yeah, I'm not that impressed with Hobby Master Tornadoes. Apart from one or two of the German ones, I haven't been that impressed with the Hobby Master Tornadoes. I think it's overrated a little bit. And their colours, I mean, that Ellenby one, that's way too light, isn't it? So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, isn't it? The grey one they've just released as well. Is that the enemy one, the grey one?
I think the Ellenby one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
way too light. What would say? I mean, Elliptical Photography has just said, I've only purchased one aviation archive since the last 2021 catalogue because of modern pricing. No, there is a bit of a thing out there, and I will say this, and this isn't me sticking up for Corgi, because like I said, I want to be neutral. But Corgi get a lot of grief around delays and not knocking things out quick enough. Yet for some reason, if Hobby Master cancel or delay stuff, or it's delayed on a boat, there doesn't seem to be that heat, which is really weird, because Hobby Master obviously are on top of their factory pretty much, being in the same continent, while Corgi are relying on a factory which is, 5,000 miles away, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem. I really do think maybe that's part of the reason why the delays are there. But then, with everything that's gone on in the last 2 years, we're talking about model planes, and actually, not really a be-all and end-all, is it? But there is a strange... There's a strange mentality around Hobby Master. Actually, we can't really criticise them too much. Yet Corgi gets something slightly wrong, and everyone steams in on them. I don't know if it's because they're
There's
the
a
ones who set
lot
it up.
more with Hobby Master a lot less, to focus in on. If you think about Corgi, like when there's a new Corgi release, there's a lot of chatter around it. With Hobby Master, because it's so varied, I feel like if one person doesn't get their Tornado or their Eurofighter, then it might not affect the next person, because the collector base is a lot wider. So any criticism is going to be a lot more thinly spread out.
Spread out, yeah.
And also people expect it. I mean, people almost expect the delays of Hobby Master now. It's sort of you take the release month and then add a few.
Yeah.
And it's and they expect that. So yeah.
So I think Cole's asked a question regarding HM and bigger planes, Langsby 17s, etc. Probably not, mate. William, although increasingly what William says now, I'm becoming more and more sceptical, but whatever, has always said that he's unable to build the heavies because they're restricting their tooling sizes, apparently. So there's your
answer. Then
they
did knock out a U2. But U2 is as big as B-17, isn't it?
Yeah, well.
Yeah, on the wingspan, certainly.
Yeah, but for some reason, you know, in all the years that HM have been around, they've avoided the big ones like the plague. So I don't know why.
I also don't know whether HM bother as much with licensing, whether the Chinese law doesn't allow them, pose a problem to them as much. Because I know Corgi pay a shitload in licensing. Corgi pay a shitload in licensing. So I don't know whether they worry too much about that. I know obviously Hobby Master have now got the Raphael, haven't they, as well? And whether they bought that off the Dassault or not.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That Wynn's been saying that for years. That's why we haven't got the UH-1 H's, and that's why we haven't got the Mirage 3 and the other Dassault aircraft. Oh, it's licensing. But all of a sudden, you know, he spat out the more Mirage 2000s and now the Rafale. So, as I said, the more I'm increasingly skeptical with some of the stuff that comes. I'm not calling him a liar or anything. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully, but a lot, which is odd for me, to be fair.
See a rip coming from the side.
A lot of the stuff he says just doesn't gel anymore. Like, so, but I mean, Panzerfaust, I've been speaking to Panzerfaust. Panzerfaust, how do you pronounce bloody name?
Panzerpans.
Anyway, I was talking to him on Facebook on message, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to do the Mirage 3." So I'm happy. So there you go.
Yeah.
So
they're up and coming as well, aren't they? They're doing well.
Yeah, they're a great little company. I mean, some of the stuff that they're so they've done the 2000, the Rafale, and all their helicopters. The Sea King's coming soon. They're
Is it Panzerfaust or is it Panzer style?
Panzerkampf.
Panzerkampf. That's the one.
Panzerfaust.
Yeah, third time lucky. Panzerfaust.
But also now, Tiny, you know, you're talking about up and coming businesses. JC Wings. Let's talk about their A6. The A6 looks absolutely brilliant. I know it's going to be north of £100, but it's got that. You know, I got slated for putting this on the forum, but it's got that caliber feel to it in terms of the magnetic weaponry and undercarriage and stuff like that. It looks
folding wings and stuff on that look very, very impressive.
It looks
I think it's certainly a lot of people have said that, you know, I've got all the HM prowlers that I need, but you know, it really does bring something different to it. And if you've got one of these sort of aircraft carrier dioramas, I think it's fantastic. It does look genuinely really nice, and going to be a really nice addition when it eventually does drop. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it sells performs with the Hobby Master one already on the market. But I think it brings enough sort of difference and features that it can hold its own, I think.
Now, and of course, adding
Go
on,
sorry,
Christian.
I was going to say, aircraft you could have picked. Is that the one you would have picked to invest so much fine detail to?
No.
I know.
It isn't. Isn't, but it's left field, isn't it? It's left field. But then the U2, with the greatest respect, is just a black aircraft most of the time. They've knocked out 3 or 4 different schemes of that already, and they're brilliant. So it shows you, doesn't it? You know, actually, if I can do it at that level, you know, what's next? Is it a World War II fighter with opening cowlings at that sort of level and folding wings like a 172 Corsair, or I don't know. There's so much to be optimistic for. I mean, Forces of Valor. I mean, I can't reveal too much because obviously I speak to Vincent quite a lot. They've got some really exciting. They've got some great exciting plans coming up, but I can't say what. I'm not allowed to say.
Delayed years now, haven't they?
Yeah, the B-26 is still a way away. The Spitfires look a lot more promising. I don't think they're quite there yet, if I was to be honest, but it's an old tooling they're working with. But they've adjusted it slightly so it looks better and the colours look better as well, especially a desert one. And there's quite an interesting recon one, an American scheme in RF colours, which looks quite interesting.
It does look interesting, that particular one. That one, but
that's different.
All of them, I'm interested, yeah.
But yeah, there's so much going on. And this is where Corgi have got to be on their toes, because if they suddenly they've gone, they could be mid-table rather than top of the tree when they usually are. And with all that like I said, we're talking about rising prices. Our wallets aren't getting bigger, are they? The prices that things are going up, whether it's fuel, electric, just general everyday living costs. It's terrible over in the UK. I'd imagine Australia's feeling it as well. We're being shut down for a year and a half, pretty
Just
much.
starting now.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. So we haven't got money in our pockets. We haven't got disposable income anymore. So that's why it's really important that when they put it out, that is the right choices, as you spoke about, but also it's exciting and it makes people, dare I say, salivate. So elliptical photography said, I'd love a PR spit with PRU pink. Oh, come on, you're having a laugh. And I would like a PR spit though, the PR11. So we were talking about this adjustable molds. I mean, Michael hasn't confirmed because he can only tell me so much clearly, but I get the feeling the new Spitfire, if they're going to do the two different types of canopy, the Grace style and the Melton style, it's got adjustable fuselages and adjustable wings. Because we were talking about the wings the last time, weren't we? So in which case, a PR11 is quite doable, I think, which could be lovely. NHS Spit will be the first one, I'd guess, if they do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
We've got to get the bloody things out first.
What a bloody Spitfires out there.
Yeah.
It's
It'd
easy money, isn't it?
it'd be like mid 2023 probably, wouldn't it? But I'd say at the earliest.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There's so many schemes we've done. MH434 never really been done properly. Had it in the Whitty mould, didn't we? Everything at Biggin Hill. You got the Grace Spitfire at Sywell, and you've got the funky scheme. If Collector Club ever comes back, you've got the funky TR9 schemes like the all yellow one. There's so much to be done. But the thing is, and this is the other bit I would say, like I said, we're going into peak air show season now, and Corgi are going to rock up for an air show with stuff that's been out for
three products.
Yeah. That's the
and it hurts. It hurts the traders as well, because what new product have they got to display, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting proposition, but
yeah. I mean, you're right. You're 100% right. It just seems odd that you've got this 2-seater Spit and it'll come out in the winter. So, in the northern winter, in northern hemisphere winter, outside the air show season. Although you never know,
here, mate. We're north of the wall. I said we're north of the wall. It's always winter here.
I want to come back to the UK. I love the UK, but anyway.
Well, the next 2 weeks, the weather's meant to be bloody lovely, so now's a good time to do it. Obviously, make sure you don't bring bloody COVID with you.
No, I've just had I had leave, COVID, and I'm just dying to go back to work. Would you believe? I was exhausted before I went on leave. Like I was cooked, but I just want to go back to work.
No, I bet, mate. I bet you've had it harder than most, mate.
It's been interesting, that's for sure.
I bet it is. Yeah, it's just, I mean, look, it looks like they're hedging all their bets for what we call in retail the golden quarter. It looks like they're putting everything into Christmas. And actually, they'll rejig, introduce the Typhoon as one of the big releases with the Harrier in the last catalogue. That's, of course, if the Harrier makes it through. There's no guarantee that. That's going to make
didn't we say in January they were putting everything into April, or they pushing it back to allow them to catch up. So taking those sort of the two release patterns together, I don't know how far that's even sustainable to keep doing that every 4 months for the range, but
the three they released in the first catalogue, only the Mustang has made it through so far. The Sterling and the Vulcan are classed as summer releases. So in reality, they've released one aircraft in the first quarter and a bit, nearly the first half a year. I know we've got the two Fokkers to come, but they were last year's releases. The Beaufort's just arrived, which was last year's.
And the Mustang, Detroit Miss, it was pretty much. I think it was pretty much ready to go. As in, like they had the signed sample of it on the day that they announced the the catalogue. So it was all pretty much done. They just had to basically sign for their delivery for it, and you know, it still kind of took till March. So I think there's probably some issues in manufacturing, right? I think there's stuff going on there that they're not, obviously they wouldn't allude to, but I think there's quite a lot afoot there. I think they're probably having like Noel was having some pretty serious factory issues. Who knows?
Well, Chinese New Year this year, the whole of southern China was pretty much wiped out. So they ceased production. Of course, Chinese New Year, you have to, you know, it's 2 weeks wasted anyhow because the Chinese party hard, didn't they? So that I don't think helped. But it's, again, you're not, you know, the other side of the world, you're not close to the factory. You're relying on eyes and ears of the other side of the world, and you're relying on Teams calls like this to keep on top of where the quality is. And you know, let's be honest, how much grief have they had around quality, around the wrong colour paint, around stupid little issues like upside down, back to front swastikas on Lancasters. You know, there's lots of stupid issues that have happened, and that's why you can't operate like that. You are relying on somebody else making the decision for you. And those somebody else sometimes haven't got quite the knowledge that you'd hope they have. So it is difficult. I do get it, but that's the world we live in, isn't it? I mean, everybody's in the same boat, whether it's Tesco's or Corgi. Half our stuff is made on the other side of the world because the labour's cheaper. It's as simple as that, isn't it? And you know, sometimes, and a lot of the time, dare I say, and even Noel, like Noel's a perfect example. I know Noel is a bit of a perfectionist, but even he gets incredibly wound up with the standards his factory, which he practically lives in, produce for him. So it shows you the issues I have. But you know, it is frustrating though, isn't it? It's really frustrating because I think we've said this before. We all want Corgi to succeed. A model, our hobby without Corgi is just be criminal without it. But I don't know. It's just. I think part of the reason we didn't want to do this is that we didn't want this to be just a shit show and we're just slinging poo at it the entire hour or whatever it is we talk about it, because we all care deeply about our hobby. Yeah, and you know, that's why I was really sort of like, don't want to do it, because actually I was a bit pissed off when I see it, and I think I speak for majority of people. And like I said, I keep saying this, you know, die-cast planes are not the you know, are not everything, but we love it and we love to be excited by it, and that excitement has dissipated. It's as simple as that, isn't it? It has dissipated it. Whether it's, even if they've released 20 today, and all 20 of them we'd want, we'd look at the prices and go, flipping heck. Now, how can we afford that? No, I haven't bought stuff from last year that Andy's just joined from Lofty's, funny enough, and I've had a bit of a crisis.
Oh.
And I've had a bit of a crisis in my own personal life, and I've not been able to buy the things I wanted to buy. But naturally, I'd rather pay my mortgage and my electrical bill than buy loads of model planes. And that's life, isn't it? I'd love to have them, but sometimes you've got to make decisions, and that's the position I'm in at the moment. Until that gets better, I've got to put it on hold. That mean I've fallen out of love with it.
Not to yet as well. So
yeah, it's just a bit shit, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
So if you used to choose one of the four, what one would be your prime one? So go with you, Sam. What's your highlight?
Well, it's got to be it's really got to be the Defiant for me. Yeah, there's no absolute no brainer. It's a cracking bit of nose art with the hand of Ulster, and there's the story and the behind the pilots as well, and the sort of the squadron history. It's really good. Unfortunately, it's not quite good enough to make up for the whole picture, but it's something. It's something to be happy about, and I'm probably going to end up buying it. But yeah, that's it. The rest, you know, what can I say?
Christian?
I've been waiting for a natural metal finish B17 for quite a while to round up my 8th Air Force collection. And I've always wanted Milkwagon that come up, so I'm quite happy with that. So that'll be a definite buy at 160 odd quid. Yay, with postage. I'll be sad.
Well, I've got two bit of laces. So I've got the Air Force one and the Corgi one. So technically speaking, I should really be buying that and make a little trio. But I think I have to agree with Sam. The Falkland stuff don't really do it for me. You know, being completely unrealistic, I'd love a Victor. I've always wanted a Victor because of my dad. And for you guys, I'm sure Sam knows, but the Victor at Duxford that's just been refurbed was one of my dad's aircraft. So a bit of family history right there. I would love a Victor, but for me, it's the Defiant. I'm looking at the Defiant shelf now. When Sam was talking, I was looking at the Defiant shelf. I have no idea where the hell it'll go, but I'll manage to get it on there somehow. I have to glue it to the bleeding top of the shelf or something just to get it in there. But it is a gorgeous scheme. But, I mean, on the flip side of that, as gorgeous as it is, two night fighting Defiants, it does make the trio. I know I'm very big on the trio stuff. So, like the, you know, like the Duxford big, you know, like you think Snafu, No Guts, No Glory, and War Eagle, nice little trio. You've got the big and heel trio. I love the threes. I think that's great. Three's a magic number, isn't it? I was born on the 3rd of December, and you know, I was number 3 as a kid. For those who don't know, speaking of number 3, proper randomness. Massive West Ham fan, and in my shop out in Wickford. For those who know, Julian Dix comes in my shop, and I would always say hello to him. And I got him to sign my shirt the other day because my shop's shutting down. Proper fanboy moment. Says hello to me now, first name basis. Yeah. I've made it in life. So but the free thing's good, a great idea. But I also then think, do we need another Defiant? That's the other thing. I don't know. I mean, it works, doesn't it? It is a beautiful looking scheme, and they've nailed the research on that. I know. Like so, before you got on there, Christian was talking about Tony at the Ulster Aviation Museum, who's obviously clearly played a part in trying to get that scheme done. It's very personal to him, being a Northern Irish lad as well.
I think it's a good release.
Yeah. It's nice. And when was the last Defiant we had? Oh, it was probably PSB, was it? The Dornier Killer?
Yeah, that's the one I've got. I've only got one, and that's it.
I think that was the last Defiant release. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm looking on there now. I'm pretty sure, and that's a few years. That must be a good 5 years. So actually, yeah, I suppose it's due. So yeah, fair play. I'm criticising it. Actually, it's a beautiful scheme. It's not. It's certainly one I'd be looking to get. But yeah, it's just, like I said, it's all a bit just underwhelming, isn't it? Somebody, a Galty boy, has just said, have Corgi ever planned to do a 172 Victor? Yes, it's been discussed. It won the poll, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, that they did around what we'd like to see. I think it's in the pipeline at some point, but it's going to be about 200 quid. I think it's going to be Sunderland price, or maybe even Vulcan price, dare I say, which is what, 240 pounds it?
Yeah, 240 on the Corgi site RRP. But if you were to do a Victor, you'd have to have it like, it would have to be the same construction method or similar to the Vulcan, just based on the sheer size of it. And I think the same goes for the and I think the same goes probably for a B29. I don't know if that's perhaps more doable, but yeah, I think the trouble is with B29, just the sheer span of it and the size of the box that you'd need. But I don't think a Victor is outside. If the Vulcan's doable, I don't think the Victor's outside of the realms of possibility.
No, there's plenty of schemes as well.
It would just be, yes, absolutely, and it would just be very, very large, very expensive. But ultimately, I think people would buy it because it's a Victor. Hey, like, come on.
I could think of 6 different colour schemes off the top of my head without even researching specific aircraft.
I love the Victor. I prefer the Victor over the Vulcan any day. It would require a complete revamp of my collection because I love the Victor. Didn't Airfix recently release a brand new Victor tooling in 1-72?
They did. They did indeed.
There you go. All the research is done.
I mean, you think, I mean, look, before you, like I said, just, no, if you work your way backwards, you know, Granby, Falklands, and then just, you know, like nuclear or an early air tanker, there's so many, plain white, flash, anti-flash white, there's so much they can do.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real,
Yeah.
a real sort of feast of options there. You can get away with, and it will be a lump as well.
Right.
See, so Goldie Boy said about that or a Nimrod for me. I'd pay 200 quid. I mean, the Nimrod, obviously, you can flip into whether they could work it between that and Comet. I don't know, but I think the Nimrod you'd probably struggle. I could think of again. I think each mould has got to have a minimum. I would say 5 releases in order to pay it back and get it in profit. It has to be 5. I mean, like I said, I just released the 4th Sterling, which is nearly 10 years old now, maybe even older than 10 years. No,
was there a Nimrod stroke Comet in like 144th?
Yeah, there was, and they go for a bloody fortune as well. They go for 100 quid. I sold my one.
Yeah.
I sold mine for about 100 quid.
Yeah,
really good. Yeah, I shouldn't say that I bought it off a bloke round the corner to here for 20 quid and then sold it for £80 profit. But it just happened.
Oh.
I bought it for my dad. My dad didn't have any room, and I took it home and I put it on eBay, and it went silly. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So yeah, very limited schemes on the Nimrod. I agree. Yeah, I mean, it's a lovely aircraft, and it's a lump of an aircraft as well. But I think that would be, like I said, a bit of a niche one. A bit, dare I say, it's a bit better than the Condor. But we won't start the Condor discussion again because it got a little bit leery last time, didn't it? Someone was quite vociferous around that. But yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, look, I think I want to wrap it up now because I'm conscious that I've got to get up at silly o'clock tomorrow morning. I guess Sam has as well. You've got the rest of the day, Christian. We've woke you up already, mate, so you're all right. But
I'll be recovering from COVID.
Yeah, oh, poor sod. I hope you feel better, mate. Well, look, cheers for joining us tonight, guys. Really appreciate it. And bear in mind, it was very lastminute.com.
Yeah.
But, usual, look, I keep saying we should do this more often. I really do want to, but it's finding the motivation to do it at the moment as well. That's a bloody problem. But look, I mean, I kept coming on about doing a weekly one, but I don't know whether a weekly one will work purely because of the lack of time.
It's the commitment thing as well. I mean, I'm sort of always available in the evening, except when I'm not, which isn't sort of too often. But yeah, I'd be out, just like, even if it's not weekly, but like every now and again, every time there's something noteworthy of in the diecast aviation world of discussing, then yeah, sure, send on. But yeah,
or every month. Or every couple of months?
We do it every month. We could do it every month. I mean, it depends what you guys want as well, you know. But it's great just to be honest, even if we didn't bloody record it, it's just great catching up with you two guys and talking about something we enjoy. And I know obviously Gary, Dan, Dan now obviously he's up at silly o'clock doing his job, his dream job at Sywell, working with Ultimate Warbirds, lucky bastard. I know Gary's been a busy boy as well, and he's had a lot to deal with early part of the year. So, you know, there's lots of others, you know, Jason, I'm sure would come on. There's so many people in and around the forum as well who contribute. So it's great to rotate it. And like I said, it don't even have to involve me, to be honest with you. If you guys want to do it with the sign on, you're more than welcome to, because you know what? It's not all about me, is it? It's about everyone else. So look, no, cheers guys. I really appreciate you joining so late in the day. We were doing it, we weren't doing it, and then we were doing it, and then I had no battery on my phone, and then the missus got the hump with me. She was, I thought he was coming to bed, and I'm probably going to be sleeping on the sofa tonight. So nothing new there. Quite used to it. Yeah. 2 dogs either side of me. But no, just set up a bed in the man cave or something. You know, just to stay in there. I could actually sleep underneath the underneath the pool table if I wanted to, but it's quite comfortable out here, mate. To be honest with you. A little bit more about that. So, but something else that might be a bit of a problem is potentially you might be moving as well. So that's going to be fun. Looking forward to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bloody cave. That's a lovely thing. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
It's a bit of a pain in the arse, mate, but there you go. But look, cheers, guys. I really appreciate it. I am going to try and see if I can get Michael and David on from Corgi at some point. So I might have to do a bit of a rotation scheme to get different people on while I'm doing it. Or like I said, I don't do it at all. So hopefully we'll be doing that. And it'll be interesting to see where they think and some of the strategy around it as well. Because I think that's keen. I think, you know, there will be a little bit of heat on that. I guess how we manage that will be interesting. But No, I don't want it to be a negative experience. It's good to have people like that involved in the hobby, and it shows you where it's come as well. Because if they wouldn't be interested in coming on, if they weren't interested in hearing what everybody thinks, because like in politics, you can't please everyone all the time. I've learned that the hard way being a manager. So hopefully we'll get to do that in the next couple of weeks. I have messaged Michael, but I know he's always under the cosh writing his whether it's aerodrome or diecast diaries, he's always under the cosh there. So hopefully next couple of weeks we can get that going as well, and we can do that. But look, brilliant. Thank you for your feedback.
No, thanks for having me on, and take care.
It's been
Mark
emotional.
And Christian, and it's indeed.
Yeah, brilliant.
Alrighty.
Cheers, Christian. Thanks, mate. Thanks for getting up so early and while you're ill as well. So cheers, guys. Have a good night.
See you later.
See ya.
Bye bye.